When a person starts believing that something belongs to them forever, that is the moment suffering begins. Buddha said that everything in this world is temporary. Nothing stays the same forever. Yet human beings keep trying to hold on to everything they want. Their relationships to remain unchanged. They want their wealth to never disappear. They want their youth to last forever. They want respect from people to always stay the same. And they want every desire to be fulfilled. But life does not work that way. Life changes every moment. People change situations, change emotions, change, and time changes. And when a person refuses to accept these changes, suffering is born inside the mind. That is why Buddha said, attachment is the root of suffering. One day a man came to Buddha with sadness in his eyes and restlessness in his heart. He said, "Master, my mind is always disturbed. I live in fear every single day. I fear losing my money, losing my loved ones, losing my respect, and losing the things I care about. Tell me how I can find peace." Buddha smiled and asked the man, "If you hold sand tightly in your fist, what will happen?" The man replied, "The sand will slip away." Buddha said, "Exactly. That is how life works. The more tightly you try to hold things, the faster they disappear. But if you keep your hand relaxed, the sand remains peacefully in your palm." Buddha then said, "Do not try to possess everything, because the desire to control and own is what creates suffering. Today, most people suffer because they want life to move according to their expectations. They want people to behave exactly the way they desire. They want situations to always favor them, but reality never follows human expectations. And when things stop going their way, the mind becomes filled with pain." Buddha explained that suffering does not come because life is difficult. Suffering comes because people resist the natural flow of life. Think about relationships when someone becomes deeply attached to another person. Fear slowly enters the heart. They begin worrying that the person may leave them, betray them, or stop loving them. And what once looked like love slowly turns into fear. Buddha taught that true love gives freedom, while attachment creates chains. Love brings peace, but attachment creates anxiety. A mother loves her child deeply, but if that love turns into attachment, she becomes trapped in constant worry. She fears for the child every moment and loses her inner peace. Buddha said, "Love people with your whole heart, but understand that every soul has its own journey. Nobody can stay with you forever. Everyone who comes into your life will one day leave, and the person who accepts this truth finds peace within Buddha." Also said that people become attached to their opinions and beliefs. They think only their ideas are correct, and whenever someone disagrees with them, anger rises inside, their ego becomes hurt. But Buddha taught that clinging to opinions creates conflict, because the person who constantly tries to prove themselves right can never experience true peace. There is a famous story about two monks walking near a river. They saw a woman standing there, unable to cross the water. One monk carried her across the river, and then both monks continued their journey. Hours later, the second monk said, "We are not supposed to touch women. You broke the rules." The first monk smiled and replied, "I left that woman at the riverbank hours ago, but you are still carrying her in your mind." This is exactly how human beings suffer. They continue carrying old pain, old insults, old betrayals, and old memories inside their hearts, long after the moment has passed. If someone insults you, and you keep repeating those words in your mind for days, then who is creating the suffering? The other person or your own mind? Buddha said, "The greatest prison in the world is the human mind, because it refuses to let go. And the person who cannot let go can never become free." Today, People are running after money, believing that wealth will bring happiness. Buddha never said money is evil. He said attachment to money creates suffering, because the more a person gains, the more fear they develop about losing it. A poor man may cry after losing a small amount of money, but a wealthy man can lose sleep over losing millions, because attachment increases fear, and fear destroys peace. Look at how people live today. They are constantly comparing themselves with others. Someone buys a bigger house, and suddenly another person feels unhappy. Someone becomes more successful, and jealousy enters the heart. Social media has made this suffering even stronger because people keep measuring their lives against the lives of others. Buddha taught that comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy inner peace, because the mind becomes trapped in endless desire. Desire itself is not the problem. Buddha explained that unconscious attachment to desire is the real problem, because once one desire is fulfilled, another immediately takes its place. A person says, "I will be happy once I get a better job." Then after getting the job, they say, "I will be happy once I buy a bigger house." Then after buying the house, they want more status, more recognition, and more pleasure. The cycle never ends because attachment keeps creating new cravings. Buddha compared human desire to drinking salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. That is why many people achieve success, yet still feel empty inside, because outer achievements can never fill an inner emptiness. Peace does not come from possessing more things. Peace comes from needing less. One of the greatest teachings of Buddhism is the art of letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up on life. It means accepting that nothing can be controlled forever. You can love people without trying to own them. You can enjoy success without becoming dependent on it. And you can experience happiness without becoming afraid of losing it. Imagine holding a flower in your hand. If you hold it gently, you can appreciate its beauty. But if you squeeze it tightly, you destroy it. This is exactly what attachment does to life. The tighter you try to control everything, the more suffering you create for yourself. Buddha taught that everything in existence follows the law of impermanence. Every flower eventually fades, every season changes, every relationship transforms, and every human being grows old and dies. When people deny this truth, they suffer. But when they accept impermanence, they become free because they stop fighting reality. Many people ask why heartbreak hurts so deeply. The answer is attachment. People do not just love another person. They build their entire happiness around them. And when that person leaves, it feels as though life itself has collapsed. Buddha taught that happiness should never depend entirely on external things, because anything external can disappear at any moment. True peace must come from within. Another reason attachment creates suffering is because it strengthens the ego. The ego constantly says, "This is mine, my success, my reputation, my relationship, my achievement." And whenever these things are threatened, the ego experiences pain. But Buddha taught that nothing truly belongs to us. We come into this world empty-handed, and we leave. Empty-handed, everything we experience is temporary. Think about how much suffering comes from trying to protect an image. People pretend to be stronger, richer, smarter, or happier than they truly are, because they are attached to how others see them. They become prisoners of public opinion and lose their authenticity. Buddha said, "Freedom begins the moment you stop seeking validation from the world." A wise person understands that life is like a river. It keeps flowing. No moment can be held forever. Trying to stop change is like trying to stop the wind. It only exhausts the mind. Peace comes when you learn to flow with life instead of fighting against it. Buddha himself was born as a prince, surrounded by luxury, wealth, and comfort. He could have spent his entire life enjoying pleasure. Yet he walked away from the palace because he realized that material comfort alone could never remove suffering. He saw sickness, old age, and death, and understood that attachment to temporary things could never bring lasting peace. For years, Buddha searched for the truth and eventually discovered that freedom comes not from controlling life, but from understanding it. He taught people to observe their thoughts, emotions, and desires without becoming trapped by them, because awareness breaks the chains of attachment. Meditation became one of the most powerful tools in Buddhism because it trains the mind to remain calm without constantly chasing desires. When a person sits silently and observes their thoughts, they slowly realize that thoughts come and go, emotions come and go, and desires come and go. Nothing stays forever, and this realization brings deep peace. Most human suffering is created not by reality itself, but by resistance. To reality, people suffer because they want life to stay frozen in a certain form. They want youth to remain forever, relationships to never change, and success to always continue. But life moves like the seasons, and wisdom comes from accepting that movement. The moment you stop trying to possess everything, your mind becomes lighter. You stop fearing loss so much. You stop becoming desperate for control, and you begin appreciating life more deeply because you understand that every moment is temporary. Buddha said, "If you want to be free, learn to enjoy without attachment, love without possession, and live without fear, because fear always comes from attachment. When there is nothing to cling to, there is nothing to lose, and when there is nothing to lose, the heart becomes peaceful." At the end of life, nobody can take wealth, fame, beauty, or possessions with them. The only thing that remains is the state of the mind. If the mind is filled with attachment, it experiences suffering. But if the mind learns detachment, it experiences freedom. That is why Buddha taught people to practice gratitude, compassion, awareness, and simplicity, because these qualities reduce attachment and create inner peace. The simpler the mind becomes, the more peaceful life feels. So if you truly want happiness, stop trying to control every outcome. Stop holding on to every person, and stop building your peace around temporary things. Appreciate what you have. Love the people around you, work hard for your dreams. But remember that everything in life is temporary. And the more peacefully you accept this truth, the more peaceful your life will become. If this teaching touched your heart, then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and continue your journey toward peace, wisdom, and self-awakening.